Your favourite ground to play at?
Sheddings.
Sheddings, right. Your least favourite?
Featherstone.
All right.
And I went to play for a guy at Castleford called Gerald van der Velde, an Australian.
Yeah.
And he taught me the game of rugby league. He was 27.
What, at Castleford?
Yeah.
So you still needed to learn it, you see?
I didn't understand it. I always knew I wanted to be a coach. I always knew that. You know what I mean? But even that is so temperamental. It's so like one day it's here, next day it's gone, and I've experienced that in my career.
At what stage did Chris Hamilton know that you were after acquiring the club?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Probably the day we announced it.
No. The day you announced it?
Yeah, because I didn't approach Chris. It wasn't me who approached him. We got a Trojan horse to do it.
Welcome to Tommyfield Live, a chance to meet. Let's join the audience now, live from our radio theatre stage.
Hello and welcome to Oldham Today. No, it's not Oldham Today, that's the programme I do on Mondays, Tuesdays and Fridays. Welcome to A Chance to Meet with Gerald Brierley, and I'm pleased to say it's a chance to meet Mike Ford. Good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon, Gerald.
Thank you very much for coming in to do this. Obviously, people know you for rugby, but let's go way back. I'm suspecting about 50 odd years. And tell us the family that you were born into, Mike.
Yeah, I was one of 4 siblings. I had 3 sisters. I've been very lucky in the respect the schools that I went to when I was younger, for various reasons, all had very good sporting programmes, if you like. And the first school I went to was Lyndhurst Junior School. A teacher there called Charlie Saul, a Featherstone Rovers fan.
Yes.
And he introduced rugby league to the school, and we became a very good team. From there, I went to Saddleworth School, and then Phil Larder was the PE teacher there. Phil, who played for Oldham for many years at Watersheddings as a centre, but also after his playing career went on to have a distinguished rugby coaching career.
Well, he wrote the manual basically, didn't he?
He rewrote the coaching manual, went to Australia for 3 years on the run with Parramatta, and a great coach called Jack Gibson rewrote the coaching manual, but also switched codes to rugby union and became the England coach, which won the World Cup in 2003. So if you look at my upbringing and just being at the right school at the right time in terms of rugby, I mean, Lyndhurst was everything. It was football, it was badminton, it was cricket. So you played them all. So was Saddleworth. Yeah. Although I was pretty good at football and rugby, basketball team, I don't think we lost. In all the 5 years we were at Saddleworth, we never lost a match. We won everything that day at basketball. So we're very good at cross country, because we had both in Charlie Saul and Phil Larder, we had like mini professional coaches, if you like, at a school, because they've been involved in that sort of arena. So we're very, very lucky to get brought up in sort of that coaching environment. It
didn't take you long to get onto sport and rugby when I said let's talk about your family. So my sisters, they went to Saddleworth School, went to Lyndhurst, both played. Well, my eldest played for England at basketball. My middle sister had a trial with England, so they were played for Saddleworth Basketball Club for many, many years. And then I've got a younger sister who's 6 years younger than me, who has married into rugby, so to speak, and her son is at Sale Sharks with my son. Her son's a lot younger than my son, but he's at the beginning of his career, and everybody's local. My mum and dad are still alive, live in Mosley. Great upbringing, never wanted for anything. You don't realise at the time, do you? But my dad was a plumber, and he had a red Volkswagen van, side door had opened, and I remember, especially at Lyndhurst, we needed parents to ferry the kids around to other schools. And you all piled
So he used to get about 10 in his van. I don't know if he can do it now, but they're very, very supportive. Every step of the way, every decision you made, in some cases still do. You seek their guidance and advice.
What about holidays with the family and Christmas and parties and uncles and aunties?
I said, the memories are good.
Yeah.
We didn't go abroad too often. In fact, we didn't go abroad at all. We went Isle of Wight. Is that abroad?
Yeah. It's overseas. Yeah.
So we used to catch that ferry and hire a caravan out, and they were great times. And we always Oldham Wakes. Everybody remember Oldham Wakes?
Yeah.
Where you had 2 weeks holidays, summer holidays, and my mum, I used to save up through the co-op and the divvies and through that, and so we had enough money to go to Isle of Wight, and it was always the Wimbledon weeks. Oldham Wakes always fell on the 2 weeks at Wimbledon, and we're all sporting family, so I remember that's where Virginia Wade won in 1977 Wimbledon title and things like that. You just remember things, the Bjorn Borg and McEnroe epics, so Christmas, and they're just normal good upbringing.
So obviously sport was big. Were you very academic, Mike?
Not really. I think B, maybe a B mark, maybe A minus now and again, A plus for sport. Because in them days they graded you for your sports in PE, they called it. And I'm looking at my old report, which is...
This is at Saddleworth?
Yeah, and it's a booklet we're under 11s, 12s, 13, you can read... and you read most of what the teachers said about me was always could do better, but the sporting one was like...
It's a bit of a get out that, isn't it? Could do better.
Yeah.
Because very often people you get that on the report and the child couldn't have done any better.
So I wasn't exceptional at school by any stretch academically.
Were you a good lad?
Yeah, good lad. I got to deputy head, and I think I got 5 O levels or something like that. But at 17 or when I was 16, or 15, I had a choice to make about rugby or football, and I chose. You'd be surprised to hear I chose football, and I signed for Oldham Athletic as a schoolboy. So then I took a year out of rugby. And I remember Phil Larder, the teacher at Saddleworth, he said, if you choose football, I keep saying soccer. If you choose football, you can get access to the gym every lunchtime. I'll give you a football. Well, there's not much you can do on your own, is there? But if you choose rugby, we'll get you on a sprint programme. I'll buy you some spikes, that sort of stuff. We'll introduce you to...
So a bit of a bribery, was it?
Yeah, and he wanted me to play rugby, but I chose football. And then I had a year with them playing in the B team and the youth team at Oldham Athletic. And when it came to whether they signed me as an apprentice, weren't YTS then, I just think it was an apprentice, they said to me that they wanted to keep me on as an amateur. They wanted to still, but that meant training at night and stuff. And I wanted to go wanted to do every day kind of stuff. So, my dad said to me, why don't you, it's 3 times a week football, why don't you go 3 times a week rugby? So I did both. I joined St Anne's under 19s, although I was only 17 at the time. I joined St Anne's under 19s, and the first game back after I decided to play both, Wigan rang me up. So I had a year out from rugby. The first game back.
So how many times had Wigan seen you then?
Once.
Yeah,
once. Yeah, so they rang me up and said something like, "We like you, we're interested in you. Keep playing well. We'll be back in touch." That was September, and we were back in touch. I signed in November for them that year. So I always wonder, if I just delayed that rugby decision a little bit longer and just say, for example, not gone back to rugby and really put all my eggs in one basket, where I could have gone with football.
Yeah. Who was manager of Latics at the time?
Jimmy Frizzell.
Right.
Andy Barlow was a footballer who played for Oldham Athletic for 10 years, same age as me. So he went to Lindus. We grew up together, and he was captain of the rugby team.
Yeah.
And he went to play professional football, and I was captain of the football team. I went to play
professional rugby.
To play professional rugby, but the town team was quite good. I played town team, and there was quite.
Did the town team play at Wembley once?
No, I'm talking about football now.
Oh right, sorry, yeah, go on.
And we're a decent side and stuff. Andy Barlow signed for Oldham Athletic. A kid signed for Man United called Nick Wood, who got injured. Two signed for Man United from our team. And then there was a guy called David Platt.
Oh yes.
Who actually ended up
Captain
England. So
yeah.
in fact, he was like couldn't catch in the starting team at the time. But he went to play for Chadderton FC, he went to Crewe Alexander, then he went to Aston Villa, and then Graham Taylor was the manager at Aston Villa, and then he got the manager of England, and he went to score that famous goal in that World Cup against Belgium.
Wasn't there a time when Oldham had 3 international captains?
Yeah.
Platt, Sculthorpe and Atherton.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. It's amazing the number of international stars that come from Oldham. Yeah. The game you're talking about that was at Wembley was actually rugby league.
Yes.
We played a curtain raiser against Hull in 1977. I think the teams that played that day were Leeds and St Helens. Great occasion.
Yeah.
You'll never guess what position I played that day.
Well, don't tell me you were prop.
Nearly.
Go on.
Second row.
Right.
Second row. Of course, I actually played hooker for the school, for Linders, and it worked out. I went to Saddleworth with Phil. I stopped growing a little bit, and I went to being a scrum half.
Time for some music. And the music that you've chosen is Meatloaf, Bot Out of Hell. Is there a reason?
Yeah, there is. There are all reasons for that. This is like when you're a kid and you first recognise music. It was my middle sister, Sharon. She used to play music all the time, and I'm in the next bedroom, of course, and she put this LP on. And it just stuck with me. This song just stuck with me forever. And Meatloaf is one of my favourite artists.
Have you ever seen him live?
Twice. Yeah. God rest his soul and stuff. But this song has lived with me forever. Probably the first song I ever recognised.
Let's have Meatloaf. Welcome back to A Chance to Meet Mike Ford on Oldham Community Radio, broadcasting on 99.7 FM, the World Wide Web, and tablets and computers and anywhere in the world could be listening to us. Mike, it's been interesting so far. Obviously, we're going that way towards sport. Was there a contingency plan?
Well, yes.
And?
Contingency plan in the respect, funny because there was really, but in respect that I wanted to be a full-time rugby player. Do you know what I mean? So what was the plan for me to do that, right? And back in the day when I was at Wigan, near the end of the Wigan, because I signed for Wigan in 82, 83, and then left in 88. But in 86, I bought a newsagents in Hollingwood with my mum and dad. And the idea was, the contingency plan then was I wanted to go and try and be a full-time player. It wasn't the full-time player is in terms of training every day.
Right. So back then it wasn't full-time pro. You were a part-time.
Yeah, you train Tuesday, Thursdays. This is what we do now.
Right.
So, in 2024, we're training like I did when I first started back. So we're training Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday mornings and play Sunday. In fact, you only trained Tuesday, Thursday back then. Do you know? So it's not much different now for the amateur team.
Semi-pro.
Part-time players.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Super League and Wiggins and the St Helens and that, like they're full-time professionals and train every day. But back then, I just wanted to push myself. Like I said, I had some good mentors in Charlie and Phil Larder, and they knew what you needed to be a professional. So I bought a newsagent with Mum and Dad, and it suited them at the time. So I used to open up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then at 1 o'clock I'd go home and I'd train during the afternoon.
Right.
On the Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays I'll train at the club.
Yeah.
So as opposed to the contingency plan is in terms of a career outside rugby, my dad was a plumber.
Yeah.
I went to work with him, and I signed on to a course at Oldham College, plumbing course. But I don't think I lasted 2 months. I got an offer to go to Australia and play rugby for the eastern suburbs. They call them Roosters now. That team. So I went there for 12 weeks, and that just.
Wikipedia's missed that one.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went when I was.
Because when you said Australia, I've got South Queensland Crushers.
Yeah, that was later.
Right.
So I went there when I was.
So Wikipedia need to get wise about you. They missed something.
Yeah. Look, when I look back at being a player, when I went to Castleford and went to Australia and stuff like that, I didn't have anything behind me in case you get injured and you can't play again. I always knew I wanted to be a coach. I always knew that. You know what I mean? But even that is so temperamental. It's so like one day it's here, next day it's gone, and I've experienced that in my career.
Yeah.
Whereas now my lads are all involved in rugby, and I've said don't do what I've done. I was lucky I didn't get injured. I was first 20 years of my rugby career. I kept on getting employment and going and getting better and stuff. So they've opened a shop my lads have opened their contingency is that they've got a coffee shop in Upper Mill, and change it at night, changes into a Kobe Asia type restaurant. So
right. It's the one opposite
Sorella.
Yeah. Time for tune number 2. I've just had the sign. Elton John, your song.
Yeah, this is a family song. Elton John's a good favourite of mine as well. He can sing anything, that guy. And this is a song where basically I see myself singing it to my family. Do you know? We went on to Portugal, and when the old camcorders were in play, then I bought myself a camcorder and filmed the holiday, cut it up into 2-minute montage, and played this song against it. Yeah.
Nice one. Here we go, Elton John. And we're back on the chance to meet Mike Ford, and you told us a while ago you got this call from Wigan, but you're an Oldham lad, and I've heard the story because you told it at one of the meetings last year, how you wanted to play for Oldham basically.
Yeah.
So go on, retell it for.
Well, I've got so many good memories of growing up in Oldham playing rugby. With a red and white shirt on, and we used to be twinned with Perpignan at the time, so you play for your town team, and one year they'd come over here and the next year, so you go over there, and you'd be 11 and 12, and all the French lads will have beards because the French like to win. But and then the Wembley experience, and then my dad was an Oldham rugby fan, and he used to take me to watersheddings, and when I first went, it was all about having the pie with a bit of gravy in it and stuff, and it was about the rugby.
So which teams were you watching then? But so some players from when you used to go.
So the Phil Larders,
right.
The Eddie Bartons,
Mike Elliott,
Monroe,
right.
Them sort of players. Yeah. And of course Phil was our school teacher as well.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. But you go into watersheddings, and as a kid, you can't wait to go and see the pitch. For some reason, I had to go and see the pitch, right? And the reason, you stand on the terrace and you look at it, and you probably go, I want to play there one day. Do you know what I mean? It's for a young kid. And I'm hoping people coming to Boundary Park now, the kids, and doing the same. They're running up the steps and looking out on the pitch before everybody gets there and the players. And it's just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to play at Wolstenholme in front of my family and friends and stuff, and for Oldham. So
when the Wigan call came?
Yeah, the Wigan came. They came to our house. I lived in Grasscroft, and they sat there, Jack Robbie and Tom Rathbone, two of the directors, with a chequebook, because you get a signing on fee, and they do it there and then give you a cheque, like no tax on it because it's signing on, it's tax free. Like I'm a 16-year-old kid, and the cheque said £7,250. And if you think with that cheque I bought a brand new Ford Fiesta for £2,000. That's how much that money were worth back in that day. But I said to my dad, I said, can we just have a chat outside? And we went into the kitchen, and I said, look, can you just check if Oldham, are they still interested in me? You know, because I played for Oldham Colts now and again and stuff. So we rang up, got through to Brian Gartland, God rest his soul. He was to do with everything non-first team, and the answer was, can you wait 4 or 5 weeks? We haven't quite made. I think Frank Myler was the coach then, but I wanted, if they would have said yeah, we would have gone back into that lounge and told Wigan no, but it didn't. They didn't give me the answer we wanted, and my dad advised me to sign for sign for Wigan. Which looking back, probably the right thing to do.
Right, I might have missed one of you. Wigan 85 appearances, Leigh 27, Oldham 115, Castleford 116, South Queensland Crushers 15, Warrington 18, Wakefield 24, back to Castleford 47, Bramley 29, Oldham 42, England 1, Great Britain 2. Have I missed any?
I'm not sure it's that long, that list. Probably, yeah.
And you're in the Hall of Fame at Castleford.
Yeah.
So they must have thought a lot about you.
Yeah, good times at Cass. Great good times. I was 20. John Chadwick, our vice chairman, I hope he's listening. He's our vice president now, sorry, John Chadwick. And back in 1990, he was a chairman of Oldham Rugby, and he sold me to Castleford. They put me on the transfer list, Oldham Rugby at 150. I wanted to stay. The notorious Jim Quinn had took over.
Yes.
Put Peter Tunks as coach. I remember I didn't want a lot of money, but they didn't want to keep me. I think they saw me as an asset to sell, so they put me on the transfer list for 150,000 there, Oldham. And actually I went to Castleford for half that amount, 77,500, whatever it was. And I would be 27, 28. I played for England. I played at Wembley. You know, I won cups. And I went to play for a guy at Castleford called Darryl van der Velde, an Australian. Yeah. God bless his soul. He died in a couple of months ago, which was tragic. The one guy that I'd say out of all the others was a guy who had the biggest impression on me, an influence on me in sport. And he taught me the game of rugby league. He I was 27.
What, at Castleford?
Yeah.
So you still needed to learn it, you say?
I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the game, and that made me really get into like...
This is after 85 at Wigan, 27 at Leigh, and 115 at Oldham.
Yeah, and I've been on the Lions. That Lions tour, 2009. Sorry, Lions 1988. I was like understudy to Andy Gregory, and I captained the Lions 5 times out in Australia. And I went to Castleford, and this guy taught me how to see the game from my perspective, which was like the conductor, if you like, getting the team around the park, speeding it up, slowing it down, going wide, going up the middle, kicking, passing, all them different things, scoreboard, referee, weather, everything. And it's like boom, 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 and when you realised I was just playing the game off the cuff, if you like, just doing what I wanted when I wanted, no consequences, no responsibility. But and that I've took that is philosophy, what I learned, into coaching.
Right.
You know, so it stood me in good stead.
So I can't speak. Tell us that. Mick
Morgan.
Yeah.
Mick Morgan.
I can't speak.
Played for Oldham, a very famous player for people who don't know. Really good playing, old traditional ball playing prop. Was at Castleford as Darryl van der Velde's assistant, and he used to commentate.
Yes.
For videos.
Castleford TV.
Yeah. Well, Castleford's video shop.
Right. Okay.
Fans could come in the next day and hire it out. We did copies, but he was hilarious. He was not like any other commentator you've ever. He wasn't neutral. He was dead biased for Castleford and everything. And the famous quote, "I can't speak," was a final against Wigan in 1994, the Regal Trophy final.
Yeah. When Skerritt got a yellow and he thought it should have been a red.
Yeah. Kelvin Skerritt hit Andy A around the chops, around the head. Dead set a sending off, and the referee gave him a yellow card, a sin binning, and he called the referee a few names.
He did. And it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It went viral, that commentary.
Yeah.
You can hear it on YouTube. It's very funny.
Right. I think we'll have the next tune, please, if we may. Tina Turner, Simply the Best.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Reason I picked this one. One is in 1990, when we had that fabulous season with Oldham. We were actually in the second division. We played 46 games, something like this. Might be 45. We won 37-38. And in that, we got to the final of the Lancashire Cup, beating St Helens in the quarter-final away, beating Wigan when Wigan were good in the semi-final at Watersheddings at home. Remember, Gerald, we were second division, and getting to the final against Warrington, and we got to the final of the semi-final of the Challenge Cup, beating Widnes in the quarter-final. And Widnes at the time were the champions of the world Club Championship. They had Jonathan Davis and a host of stars playing for them, the Myler brothers and stuff. We beat them, but then lost again to Warrington that year in that famous semi-final at Central Park. We got promoted that year back to the first division, but then we played at Old Trafford against OKR in the famous Premiership final, where we were 29 points to 4 down or 3 down, I think it were at the time, and came back to win 30 points to 29. And this song, a singer called Morgan, who used to sing at the Old Sheddings Club, people remember, who went to the Old Sheddings Club at Watersheddings. He was the singer there who sang every Friday. He recorded this with a team, this Simply the Best.
Right.
So that's the first one. And then the second one was, no doubt you'll talk about it in a minute, when I went to Australia with the South Queensland Crushers. It came up again, that song. I'll tell you a bit more about that.
Okay, Tina Turner. Welcome back to A Chance to Meet on Oldham Community Radio with Gerald Brierley, and it's a chance to meet Mike Ford, and we're not even halfway through what the questions I want to ask. So before we get onto rugby union, and we'll skip through that and get to current day Oldham quite soon, but going back to rugby league, your favourite ground to play at?
Sheddings.
Sheddings, right. Your least favourite?
Featherstone.
All right. Outstanding teammates?
Oh, good question. I suppose I'll have to go towards the Castleford days a little bit. Graham Steadman, Lee Crooks, Oldham, Charlie McAllister, John Cogger, Richard Russell. We had a great team. Paul Round, Paul Lloyd. Yeah. Wigan, Ellery Hanley.
Was Lloyd onside?
Yes.
Yes. And was it your kick through?
Yes.
Yes. We came out of the ground, and some Wiganers had been watching it in the local club, and she said, because they didn't have replay then, they said, you've been robbed.
Yeah.
On television, Lloyd was clearly onside when Ford kicked through.
Yeah.
People you dreaded playing against, any?
Oh, the big guys.
All of them?
Yeah, the big guys, yeah. They used to pick me out, didn't they, and stuff. But I was quite cute. I used to hide in defence. That's why people can't get their heads around. When I went to rugby union, I went as a defence coach, because they said, you never did any tackling in rugby league. How did you become a defence coach? But I was quite strategic of hiding.
Okay. Now, Roy Keane famously had a little black book. Did you have anything of that nature? Something that you would like to have done, maybe?
Oh no, I were never that type of player. I were never very sportsmanlike, if you want to say that. I think I only got sin bin once in my career.
Can you remember the incident?
Yeah, it was mistaken identity.
Right, we're going to skip through rugby union, which is a flipping shame, because I'm going to reel them off like I did with the league. Started with Duckingfield, doing a bit of training at Duckingfield, weren't you? Ireland, Saracens, British and Irish Lions, England, Bath, Dallas Griffins, Leicester Tigers, Toulon, Leeds Carnegie as a consultant, Newcastle Falcons. You've been there, done it all, Mike, haven't you?
I thought you were going to miss Newcastle out then. I mean, rugby union was good for me. The idea was, I was coaching Oldham Rugby League. I played coach for 2 years. Ireland came in and said, would you come over and do a Six Nations with us? It was a 100-day contract. They would allow me, Ireland, they were allowing me at the time to coach Oldham Rugby as well. And I went to the board. I said, this would be good for the club, it'd be good for me, it would be good for Ireland, all the parties. It's a win-win-win. Did all the contracts and what would happen when I'm away from Oldham, and Mark Knight and Aidan Walker step up, my assistants, and all these things. And then Oldham pulled the plug at the 11th hour and wanted 25,000 euros of Ireland to as a transfer fee, and it turned a little bit sour, a little bit. But when I went to rugby union, it was to come back as a better rugby league coach. I thought I'll go over there for first 100 days, and then I get an 18-month contract extension. Now I'm going to come back then. I'm definitely going to come back then. But and I had offers from Bradford and Hull as assistant coaches. But then you realised, I went to the World Cup in 2003 with Ireland when England won, and you realise then the opportunities in a career path as a coach in rugby union was tenfold more opportunities, and I got to learn the game. It took me a while, but I got to learn the game, got to enjoy the game. So I stayed there for 20 years. But I feel, Gerald, like I've come back a better person. I've not been in one code all my life, and you see the same things and you do the same thing. I've gone out and been on the British and Irish Lions with Clive Woodward, and got to the World Cup final with England. Did what I did at Bath.
You must be proud of all this.
Yeah, I am. I am proud, and but the thing is, I'm bringing it. I'm at a stage in my life where I want to bring it all back, and there's no better club to give it all to, my learnings and stuff, my experiences, than Oldham Rugby.
Yeah. When Jonathan Davis was asked the difference between league and union, do you know his answer?
No.
He said, I was never cold on the rugby league field.
Very good.
So, very good. Let's get on to Oldham. Oldham, last year, what is it? About 15 months, is it now? Something like
March, that? So, March took 13 and a half months.
And it couldn't have just happened overnight. Oh, I fancy being involved. What was the story? What was the process?
So it was June, July 2022. I'd finished at Leicester. Didn't want to coach again. Leicester was my last coaching experience in rugby union. I won't go into it, but I came out of there and I thought, if this is the way I think coaching's going, it wasn't for me. So I took a bit of time out and stuff, and quickly realised that I want to get back in there. So I had a real consultancy business where it was to be a consultant at a team, maybe look after a defence coach, look after a player. In union? In all sports. Oh, right. In all sports. Give talks to companies about leadership and things like that, and cultures and environments. And I was looking at Oldham Rugby and I thought, oh my God, we were the 3 leagues, and we were the bottom, or the lowest, of the Heartlands. So the only teams below us were the London Scholars, West Wales, the Cornwalls of the world, you know. And I just think that were right. I just didn't think that was right and stuff. So I thought, I wonder if I can help in any way. And the first thing I did was to see who owned Boundary Park, because I wanted to get in front of that person and said, if we acquire Oldham Rugby in any way, could we play at Boundary Park? And it was at a time where...
When you're saying we, was there a we, or was it just you at that
Yeah, it was just me.
Right.
It was just me, and I was just like, I had time on my hands, so I thought I'll investigate. Frank Rothwell took over pretty much the same time. I had a guy who knew both Frank and me, and he got us in the room together. And I said, Frank, if I were able to acquire Oldham Rugby, could we play here? And he was very much in favour. He helped us in a lot of ways, Frank. And I've got Aidan Walker involved there, and Simon Winnard at that stage. So that was August 2022. We knew November 22 that we're going to be playing at Latics, because the council had, earmarked £1 million pitch to be put down. Frank wanted us there. So it took us about, say, from November to March to acquire the club.
At what stage did Chris Hamilton know that you were after acquiring the club?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Probably the day we announced it.
No, the day you announced it?
Yeah, because I didn't approach Chris. It wasn't me who approached him. We got a Trojan horse to do it.
Right.
So that's where the Rothwells helped a little bit.
Right.
So they got in touch with Chris. Chris, I'm looking to sell. Do you know what I mean? We put a Trojan horse there. I'll tell you who it was, who fronted it up as though he was the buyer, but it was me behind and stuff. And then,
I can safely tell listeners it wasn't me.
But and then it took till March and stuff, and 15 months ago,
So that's the attraction, to put all your experience into your hometown club, yeah? So what hopes and aspirations, having done that now, have you got for the club and the town, spectators?
Yeah, it's very high, as you well know. It's very high of our hopes and, as you said, aspirations. The opportunity we have in the town is huge, really. I think with this today, it's going to help getting our story out there, because still people don't know our story. Even rugby people don't know our story a little bit of what we want to do and where we want to go, how we want to do things, because the how is we want to do it together.
Yeah.
We want this. If we want a big, strong rugby town again, then it's got to be all of us involved. And it's not my club, I'm just a custodian of it, like we all are, really, in all little ways. And this club's going to be here when we're all gone. And I just want to be able to say, if it's going to be now, then we've all got to chip in together. And the opportunity for me is bums on seats, the ability to build a crowd. We're about 1,500 now, regularly, from 400 last year, so that's gone up quite significant. If we do what planned to be and we get promoted to the Championship next year, could that go to 2,500? Do you know? And then there's still people sceptical. There's still people. I went to the dinner on Friday night. We had a sportsman's dinner at the Queen Elizabeth Hall. Yeah. And as people were going out, I was talking to them, and I was talking to a guy called Paddy Kerwin.
Paddy, yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy called Mick Swift, who's very much involved in the amateur team, and a few others, real rugby men. And I asked them, have they been down to Boundary Park and watched us play yet? And they said no.
Paddy hasn't. Either.
No. And I said, what? Can you just tell me why? And Paddy goes, well, I've been working away. And then he went, well, actually, it's only now we've had someone to follow. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm going to get down. You know, Mick Swift said, I need to get down. But that's my point about our story not being out there. 5 good rugby lads who love rugby league have still not been down yet. You know, so the opportunity in the town's huge.
Well, the next opportunity is tomorrow against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Predict a score then we have to have some more music, Mike, and that the morning's flash past.
As long as Newcastle are under 6 or under,
right,
I'll be happy.
Right. And the last piece of music is This Is Me.
Pick this for my lads. So I've got 3 boys. Joseph's coaching Doncaster Rugby Union, he's head coach. George is playing for Sale, play for England, and Jacob's coaching at level 4, Bury St Edmonds, and director. So this is a song that resonates with a family that, although we're all in rugby, we need to be ourselves, you know, because I'm in rugby as well, but I still don't want anyone to copy me. I don't want anyone to, you know, like to be a clone of me, really. I wanted to give them the best of me, but also the best of them. And this is where this song's come from, to be the best of yourself.
Mike Ford, been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.